Breaking news! There's been a lot of buzz recently among fans, and I'll tell you all about it in detail, but before I do, be sure to hit that like button to stay informed. Now, something is brewing in Berea, and it's not just about who will take the first snap as a starter this fall. Right at the Cleveland Browns training facility, one of the NFL's most respected veterans, Joel Bitonio, found himself at a crossroads this offseason. For the first time in his career, the 10-year veteran openly admitted that he was considering retirement. A man who has been a pillar of this franchise, a 5-time Pro Bowler and a mainstay in the offensive trenches, Bitonio's potential departure would have been seismic. But what kept him in Cleveland? The answer is complex, and perhaps more revealing than fans might expect. Bitonio didn't just wake up one morning feeling unsure about football. No, this was a real, reflective process. He sat at home for weeks after the 3-14 campaign, surrounded by silence, thinking. Then came the conversations with his wife. Conversations about his body, about the team, about the future. I can still play football at a high level, he concluded. But even more than physical readiness, it was about emotional investment. Could he see himself going to battle again with this team? He didn't decide until he heard what the organization had to say. Bitonio wanted to know the direction. What was the plan? What was the identity of the Cleveland Browns going to be? That's where meetings with general manager Andrew Berry and head coach Kevin Stefanski came into play. The conversations weren't about fluff. Bitonio didn't need a motivational speech, he needed substance. And Berry and Stefanski gave him just that. They shared the vision, a return to Stefanski's classic offensive scheme. A back-to-basics approach that had previously brought success. But it wasn't just XS and OS. A huge tipping point came when Bitonio was introduced to new offensive line coach Mike Bloomgren. This was no ordinary hire. Bloomgren spent the last 7 years as the head coach at Rice and was recommended by none other than former Browns O-line guru Bill Callahan. What happened last season left scars. Callahan's departure to Tennessee left a hole in the Browns' offensive line room. His replacement, Andy Dickerson, failed to deliver. Regression followed. A quiet shift happened mid-season. Dickerson was gradually pushed aside by assistant Roy Istvan, and eventually, Mike Vrabel stepped in as a consultant. The message was clear, something had to change. Enter Bloomgren. For Bitonio, Bloomgren wasn't just another coach. He was a throwback. A gritty, detail-obsessed, no-nonsense kind of leader. He's a true O-line coach, Bitonio emphasized. He gets nitty-gritty in the details. The O-line coach kind of needs to be a D******. You need that. There was admiration in his voice, real recognition that this was the kind of leadership the line needed to rediscover its identity. The chemistry between Bitonio and Bloomgren started fast. They met over dinner. They talked football, philosophy, mindset, everything. And for Bitonio, who had been part of elite offensive lines, that connection was essential. He saw in Bloomgren a path forward, a reason to believe that the Browns could reestablish the dominance they once had in the trenches. That's why Bitonio spoke about a return to 2020 and 2021 offensive installs like it was a revival of sorts. Outside zone runs. Power schemes. A playbook designed to leverage the strengths of their personnel. It fits us so much better, he said. He wasn't just talking about himself. He was talking about Jack Conklin, about Wyatt Teller, about Ethan Posick. Veterans who know the grind, know the scheme, and have thrived in it. If Bitonio's words are prophetic, the Browns could be heading into a season where the offensive line, often the forgotten foundation of any team, becomes their greatest weapon again. Now, from the trenches to the quarterbacks, the other storyline lighting up Cleveland is the wild, unprecedented 4-man battle for QB1. Dillon Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders, Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett. It sounds like the start of a football riddle, but it's very real, and the stakes couldn't be higher. Gabriel, a third-round pick out of Oregon, arrived with a resume that screams adaptability. He's played at UCF, Oklahoma, and Oregon, winning the starting job at every stop. He's seen it all and is thriving under the NFL pressure cooker. During rookie minicamp and OTAs, Gabriel has flashed his signature arm talent and impressive accuracy. But more than that, he's adjusting fast to NFL complexities, new language, huddle communication, and pre-snap reads. Calling plays in the huddle is no joke, especially when you've come from college systems that rely heavily on visual signals and claps for cadence. Gabriel credits his time at Oregon, particularly working with Coach Dan Lanning and OC Will Stein, for preparing him for this. There, he got used to coach-to-player communications, something the NCAA only recently approved. That experience is now paying off. He described the transition as like learning a new language, one where every word paints a picture. And now that he's grasping it, things are clicking. Gabriel's calm demeanor and football IQ are turning heads, but so is his personality. Teammates are already drawn to his upbeat attitude and competitive drive. Even Shedeur Sanders had to admit, cool guy, he called him. And speaking of Shedeur Sanders, let's be clear, this kid is not just Deion's son. He's showing the locker room that he's his own man. Criticized during the draft process for entitlement, Sanders has flipped the narrative in Cleveland. In a viral moment, he was seen organizing Joe Flacco's locker. Voluntarily. If Flacco told me to do this every day, I would do it, Sanders said. It's respect, you feel me? This isn't just locker room etiquette. It's a message. Sanders is showing that he understands the hierarchy, and more importantly, he respects it. It's winning him points inside the facility and changing perceptions outside of it. He's competitive, no doubt. But he's also aware. Humble. And he's got the attention of Kevin Stefanski. Now I want to hear from you, Browns fans. How do you feel about Joel Bitonio's return and the fire he's bringing back to the offensive line room? Are you excited about Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders shaking up the quarterback room? Drop a comment below. And while the Browns' offensive trenches seem to be returning to their roots, the quarterback competition is writing a new chapter in Cleveland football history. Kevin Stefanski has a plan: get Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders to take as many reps as possible. No snap is wasted. Every minicamp rep, every OTA drill is a chance to evaluate, to grow, to see who truly deserves to be under the lights at First Energy Stadium in September. But the beauty of it? These rookies aren't tearing each other down. There's respect. There's curiosity. They're learning from each other and from the veterans who've already walked this path. In Stefanski's own words, they're sponges in the meeting room. That's not coach talk, it's genuine enthusiasm. Because while the outside world may be obsessed with drama, Stefanski is seeing something different, a room full of quarterbacks who are wired to learn, to strive, to absorb knowledge from every direction. Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Deshaun Watson. Each brings a different flavor of experience, and the rookies are loving it. And then there's that moment, another viral spark. A choreographed handshake between Shedeur Sanders and rookie defensive end Aiden Huntington. Simple, sure. But it screams chemistry. Brotherhood. A sign that this locker room isn't fragmented, it's coalescing, one gesture at a time. It's not just about finding a starter. It's about setting a tone. It's about building a culture. And if the early glimpses of OTAs are any indication, the 2025 Browns could be one of the most compelling teams to watch in the entire league. Now it's your turn, Browns Nation. Hit that like button, subscribe for more exclusive updates, and let us know in the comments, who do you want to see as QB1? What are your expectations for this season? Let us know in the comments. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Go Browns!